and welcome back to Rooted for Growth. I'm Troy Whitman, and welcome to today's episode. Today's episode is called Unmapped, Step by Step. Let me tell you a little personal story of kind of what's going on in my life right now. So, I am a counselor in training. I'm going to Liberty University. I'm currently in I'm a year and a half in. My practicum starts up in spring of next year, and then I have 2 internships, both in summer and fall of next year. So next year is a big year for me. It is, it's going to be all the practicum, all the internship stuff, all year long, and then graduation at the end of the year. Well, when I started my counselor journey, I have a counseling center that I am very fond of, that I've been going to. Both me and my wife went there. I have a very dear place in my heart for this counseling, this counselor, as well as the counseling center there. And as I started this journey, we talked about me being a resident there, having my practicum there, having my internship there, being under supervision with this counselor as I went forward on this counseling journey. And that's been the plan for this last year and a half that I've been going through classes. Well, I could kind of see the writing on the wall. This counselor is going to get his doctorate, so he's getting busier. There's another former client of his, that's there, that's going through a counselor journey as well. And there was going to come a time where both me and this other student was going to try to utilize this place, this counseling center at the same time. And I just didn't feel like it was going to be feasible. And I wanted to maintain a good relationship with this counselor and with the counseling center. So I made the recommendation of I should probably look for somewhere else to do my practicum and my internship. And, he reluctantly agreed that yes, that might be beneficial. And gave me some good points that, I would learn something from someone other than him and see some different points of view. And so it's all going to be for my benefit in the long run. And I agree with all that. That being said, it's not easy when plans change. When you think your path is going one way and then something changes it the other way. It's just a reminder that God has all this in control, that all of these little twists and turns in the path, he already knows. It's me who gets kind of sidetracked or blindsided by them when those happen. I thought that the path was just a straight line. I was just going to go class to class to class, and I was going to go my practicum here, internship here, graduate, supervision, all of that, all the way down the road. I could see the path perfectly, step by step. It's only when that path took a quick left that I was scratching my head going, am I still on the path? Is this really the way that I was supposed to go, Lord? Those things happen in all of our lives. And it reminds me of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean onto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. I think my path is straight, but there are twists and turns that only he knows about. When I look back, it might be straight, but there are lots of twists and turns that's coming up. So how do you navigate change? How do you roll with that? I mean, I had this plan laid out. I knew what I was going to do step by step. It reminds me of back when Erin was alive, when my wife was alive, and we were planning out things. I was called by God to be a counselor in early 2024. And so started, stepped out in faith then and enrolled in classes and got a job change that was helping me pay for those classes and all this stuff. And everything just kind of was flowing together. And I knew this is of God. I knew that because it was so out of left field. But we had this plan. Okay, God, you've given us the guidance. Now here's where we're going to go. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And then when she passed away in October, that path took a quick left. We had planned out that I was going to become a counselor. We're going to get to the point to where we didn't have a lot of bills to pay. We didn't have a lot of debt. All that will be gone. And we can live off of my counselor pay. And then she could be an office manager, come in and deal with clients who's walking in, or the scheduling aspect of it and the paying part of it. And I could deal with the counselor part of it. And we could just be, a man and wife counselor operation. And that was the goal. That was the plan. Until she passed away. And then I had to reevaluate and say, Lord, okay, this plan looks different now. Am I still on the path? Am I still going the direction that you had for me? It's in those moments that you have to realize that God's in control of all this. I'm not. You're not. God knows all of this. God has all of our paths laid out. It's only us who's surprised by these changes and turns. It reminds me of Psalm 23:4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for the Lord is with me. In these moments of confusion and in these moments of questioning, we have to know that God's there with us. He's the one that's guiding our steps on this path and moving us forward. Trusting in Him with all of our heart is the only way we can really survive moving forward like this, is knowing that He knows what the next step is. I mentioned to you before about a meditation that I had. And in my meditation time, I was there at the water's edge. It's actually this. This is the place where I meditate. This is a picture of a campground that's close by. Me and my wife would go camping there a lot, and there's one specific time where we went on a camping trip, and me and my daughter took our camp chairs down to this spot, right at the edge of the water, and just sat there, and it was so peaceful. Later on, when I started going through counseling, and it was instructed to me on how to do meditation and how to get into meditation through some guided meditation, through some mental imagery, I was asked to go to a place that I felt safe, where I was comfortable, where I knew in my mind it was a safe place. And immediately I thought of this spot. So whenever I meditate, I go here. So when I was talking about that meditation and I was there on the shore and Jesus was hovering out over the water, it was this place. Jesus was right out here. And as I'm there on the shore, and I ask Jesus, what am I to do? And He brings that rock up from the water, and it comes right up out of the water, just a step off of the shore. And He looks at me, He says, do you trust me? And that was the end of the meditation. Knowing there's not just one rock. I'm not going to step out and land on that one rock, and then I'm just going to be in the middle of the water with nowhere to go. Jesus is going to provide another step for me. And He's been doing that this entire time. He's been lifting a rock to the surface just in time for me to step on it. And it's when you're going in one direction and there's a rock and there's a rock and there's a rock, and then all of a sudden there's a rock. And you look and you're like, there's supposed to be one here, not there. He knows where those stones are. He knows where those next steps are that He can bring up to the surface as you are ready to take that next step. It's just trusting in Him, trusting the author of those steps, the author of that path, knowing that He knows each step as they come up. So I encourage you, as your path changes unexpectedly, and it always will. It'll change unexpectedly, sometimes daily. It'll change unexpectedly. The encouragement that I have for you this week is trust in the one who knows the steps. Trust in the one who knows the path. When you start putting too much of your own thoughts and your own plans in the way, it can detract you from the path that God has for you. If I kept barreling forward and saying, you know what? No, The plan is, I have to go to this counseling center. I have to be with this counselor. I have to be in this spot for the next year, or else my plan doesn't work. Well, then that plan wasn't from God. That plan was from me. So when I start evaluating and saying the plan is failing, I'll start blaming that on God instead of whose really plan it was. It was my plan. It wasn't his. You have to trust in the one who is the author of the plan. And then the important piece to keep all of this in perspective is to have that daily quiet time and prayer time with the Lord. How do you know? How do you know that you're taking the right step? Well, you know because you spend time with him every day. You spend time on that bank seeking the next step. That's my prayer to you this week, is that you will come to him in your quiet time, in your devotion readings, in your Bible readings, in your prayer time, in your meditation time. I encourage you to do all of those things and seek out the Lord's guidance for your life and have him show you what is the next step. Psalms 119, 105 says, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." How do you know you're on the right path? Because Jesus will shine the light for you. It'll be the one that you know he's leading you down with that lamp shining on your feet, showing you one step at a time as you move across the water. I was reminded back to the beginning of my journey where, or rather just a few months ago, when God called me to leave my full-time job and become a student full-time, to really double down and invest in this plan that he had for my life to become a counselor. And in that time, I used the analogy of, it's like Peter when he saw Jesus and Peter stepped out of the boat. I didn't realize at that time that the words that I said of Peter stepping out of the boat, Peter didn't know how he was going to get to the Lord at that time. He just knew he couldn't stay in the boat. He saw Jesus out there, and Jesus called him to him. Come. That's all he said. Come. And Peter didn't know how he was going to do it, but he threw his leg over the side of that boat. We think, like we look at that and we go, well, Jesus called him to walk on the water. Jesus didn't call him to walk on the water. Jesus called him to come. That's all he said. Come. Peter had the faith to throw his leg over the side and know whether he was going down in the water or whether he was staying on top of the water or whether he was going to float out to Jesus. He was going to get to him somehow. He was just obedient in stepping out of the boat. And that's what you have to do on a daily basis. So that's my encouragement to you. Every day. You don't know how you're going to get to Jesus. You just know that he's there and he's calling you. My encouragement to you, step out of the boat. He'll bring that step up for you to land on. He'll make the water surface flat where you can walk on it. Or he'll bring up a rock to have you land on it. Or he'll give you wings and let you fly to him. He'll do something to get you to come to him. But the obedient piece is that when he calls, that you obey and you take a step in faith towards him, whatever that step looks like. And you can do that through prayer and meditation and seeking his will for your life. So as we leave today, that's my parting ways with you, is seek God's face, seek God's lamp to be that light to your path on every step that you take, and renew that every day with prayer and meditation, seeking what that next step is. I hope this has been a blessing to you. If it has, please comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the episode. Also, if there's somebody who you know their path has been adjusted, share this with them. Let them know that, God's path changes in the way that we see it sometimes, but that doesn't mean that he's changing the path. It means that we haven't seen the way that the path needs to go. Remember, you can go to whitmancollective.com and sign up for that PDF. It's whitmancollective.com/sign-up. Like my Whitman Collective at Facebook. Find me on Instagram, Whitman Collective, all the different places. Would love to have you join with me on this journey of Rooted for Growth. Use the hashtag Rooted Together, trying to get some momentum going with that, with this podcast. And I just hope you like what's going on. So that's enough of me rambling and long enough episode for you to watch. So, let me know how you like the video as well. I'd like to hear about that too. I hope you have a wonderful week. Blessings to you this week on the path that God has set out before you.